Hello Friday, we missed you. This is The Week That Was with me, your host, Simon Brown. We've got the full house again. FNB in Wealth and Investments, Chantal Marx, Sasfins Securities, David Shapiro, Vestacts, Khumalo. Hello, welcome everyone back. Let's start with you, Bright. Let's start with Nvidia results. As a relatively new Nvidia shareholder, why didn't it go up?
It did go up in the end.
I want it up 15%. I want to...
Apparently we didn't beat, the highest of forecasts. We beat all the forecasts except for one crazy guy, and that wasn't good enough for the market. But look, I think reality did hit in eventually. We closed in the green after being down 0.5% for the most part, so it was a non-event.
So the thing with Nvidia is because analysts are starting to understand the business a lot better and the dynamics behind it, they're going to become more accurate with their forecasts. So
they're really accurate.
They're getting very accurate with their forecasts. So the size of the beats, which disappointed the market, I think is going to continue to narrow because analysts are actually understanding this business. 2 years ago, no one understood Nvidia and what they were doing, but now there's a pretty good grip by the market.
No. So this quarter is the first quarter where we got from the CFO proper reporting on, how the data centers are doing, how the racks are doing, how the, the applications of the things are doing, how the software is. It's the first time I'm seeing that. I've been in Nvidia shareholder since 2015. So this is 2016, sorry. So this is shocking because now everyone is going to understand what the business is doing.
Okay. So where are you switching to?
We're not switching.
My CrowdStrike's are almost back at the highs.
Well, we did very well with CrowdStrike, so that's doing really well. The one that's actually a proper sleeper currently is On Holdings. No one is actually...
On Holdings?
Yeah, that's the one with the shoes. Because Nike, sort of chundered and gave market share away. On and Deckers are on the up and up.
Nike will be back.
Chantal's right, everybody's understanding. It's the worst thing. It's like watching the Springbok team, or the book there. How many selectors have you got on the sideline, all throwing in what they know. If you look at the absolute results, they're remarkable. I mean, I'm the old-fashioned accountant. I say, what was their revenue? What was their profit? How much cash they got? Do you want this company? Yes. I don't care about those 25-year-old pimply CFAs, who are making forecasts.
Who are not allowed to own the stock.
Yes, that's exactly.
So moving swiftly along, Gensler's quitting SEC chair on the 20th of Jan. He's going to step down. Should we be terrified?
I don't think I think he's running for the hills. I think he knows what's coming.
Because his term expired in June 26.
Yes, I know. Yeah, I know. I'm sure that pressure is going to be brought on him, and why must he fight against Trump and what Trump wants to achieve?
And the Bitcoin bros.
Bitcoin bros, because I still think there's going to be a battle. I don't think it's going to be so much easy for the Bitcoiners to push through regulation. It's not just, oh yes, we're going to accept it. There are huge complications in actually writing regulations to buy and sell Bitcoin.
And now the Chinese are pro-Bitcoin, so it's to the moon, I guess.
Yeah, I still think that the regulatory story is going to evolve, and we need to understand how that's going to play out before getting too bullish or too bearish on Bitcoin. Because this anonymity thing, that is one of the big points and pros of Bitcoin, but it's also what makes it very vulnerable to regulation. Because at the moment, from an anti-money laundering perspective, a lot of question marks are hanging around cryptocurrencies.
Actually, Bitcoin is actually pretty... online, you can see what everyone is doing.
If you know who the blocker is, you can track it for forever.
Sometimes you don't even need to know. You can find out when they cash out.
You know what?
Exactly, you can work it out through chain analysis. It's so simple.
That's too late, though.
Have you looked at your tax statement or your tax questionnaire?
Why are you trying to make
Do you own Bitcoin?
Yes.
Yes. They don't know whether you own Bitcoin or not.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
the point.
But once you get audited, they can find that you own
How are they going to find it?
Mine's in a hardware wallet, man.
Yeah, how are they going to find it?
So now that's
the problem.
When you cash it out, we'll find you.
And so who's going to say, yes, I own Bitcoin?
So I'm going to have to go like to Kazakhstan to cash it or something. Anyway, also making news this week, Khumalo city officials get new BMWs, even as there is surge crisis, while Johannesburg councillors get salary increases, even as there is a city in crisis. We live in la la land. SAA made a profit for the first time since 2012. Colour, everybody's surprised. Rafael Nadal quits. Nvidia results knock it out the park. Nobody cares. 91 and Sanlam get hitched or something. Everybody wants Boxer, but there's not enough to go around. Two-pot withdrawals hit 35 billion rand. Jaguar gets a new logo and the internet is up in arms. Hey, I'll take your woke E-type Jag any day of the week. What's the best way to bring in the new year? Blow up a hotel, you say. And your electricity meter may stop working on Sunday. And no surprise, City Power has messed up the transition. But first, the governor and his band of not-so-merry men and women. Woe is us, as October inflation came in at 2.8%, but we only got a 0.25% cut, taking prime to an eye-gouging 11.25%. Here he is breaking our hearts and wallets.
I think 25 basis points is more cautious, and the environment is uncertain, and it calls for caution. What have you seen across the globe this week? Inflation in the US surprised, came out above expectations. In the UK, the same thing happened. It came above expectations. In the euro area, you had wages rising at the fastest rate since 2000.
Love the tie. Chantal, let's start with you, and I'm going to take that.
It's like Chantal's dress, yeah.
They were the first central bankers to sort of suggest that inflation wasn't transitory. He was right. It's kind of what they're saying now. I mean, everyone's like howling and saying we should have more cuts, etc., etc. The gap, the real rate is the biggest it's been since the late 90s. Or should we cut them some slack?
I think we should cut them some slack. So there are a few reasons why I think they didn't go for the 50 basis point cut. The first being that there's a lot of uncertainty in the world right now, and that can have a big impact on the rand, which in turn can have a big impact on inflation, and very, very quickly as well. The second thing is we know that there are some policies on the table in the US, or possibly on the table in the US, that could be inflationary, and if there's inflation there, it will filter through to the rest of the world. And then I think the final thing is they really want to lower the inflation target to 3%. There are numerous benefits to it, but you do that in a cutting cycle, and you do that by being a little bit tighter than the rest of the world on monetary policy. And I think that that is what's reflected in that decision.
Are we going to see more
in the camp? He's in the camp. If it's a shiny day, it's a beautiful sunshine, he'll still take an umbrella to the beach. You know what I mean?
Smart man.
He is hawkish. He is generally a little bit.
But are we going to now see, because Chantal's been saying since forever that the whole rate cutting cycle is going to be a lot shallower than we're hoping.
Yeah.
You're going to see the Fed, because to the point, I mean, Trump 20 Jan, who knows?
If you look forward, on what we're expecting I'm talking South Africa, I think the most bullish are 0.75%. The others are 25 points. So that's what we're ahead. I don't think it's going to be every meeting, maybe once every 2-3 months. So don't look forward to a prime rate of under 10, 10.5,
Yeah.
which is killing.
No, and the people that are saying, there must be a regime change, cancel inflation targeting and all of, they're crazy.
No,
you have to increase rates to like 10%, 18, I don't know.
I've lived under those non-targeting times. I bought my first house, prime was 26%.
So do you really want that?
No, I like inflation.
I'm very happy where we are, so don't mess it around. When I pay my debts, maybe you can start inflation.
And to be fair, the 2.8% number, core inflation, was 3.9. So let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
Exactly.
Buried in all this bad news, however, is a sparkle of delight. Standard & Poor Global improved our credit rating to positive, albeit we're still junk. 3 levels deep in junk, and truthfully, we're so overwhelmed I'd forgotten about the junk bit. Nice to wake up on a Monday morning and hear Standard & Poor's saying sweet things about us.
Yeah, but they still, we're still junk. So meaning we're still laboring towards those junk.
So we fourth division. So that's what you're saying.
We're still in, we're still in the D League.
But we look better from a local currency perspective, which is where most of our debt lies, right? So our local currency debt isn't that deep in junk. In fact, an upgrade actually puts us in investment grade again from a local currency perspective. And that could already lift sentiment quite a bit. And what I also noted from that report was their forecasts for growth is very low.
Conservative.
Very low relative to
Now
South African economists.
yeah.
So as soon as that starts filtering through to them, who knows?
So we could get unjunked and ungrey listed in the same year.
Oh, a girl can dream.
I
markets will be
think
pumping.
that's one thing we forget. You know, when you listen to the governor and the forecast of growth, you know, the next 4 years, 2%.
But he's
What's the 1%?
talkish, man. They don't always talks it down. As you say, he takes an umbrella to a.
He's
to
not
the
wrong.
beach.
We've been in this, you know, we've been one and a half for how many years?
Ever.
You can't grow out of it. Even Chantal's bank can't grow out of it.
Leave the banks alone. Then there's the 91 Sanlam dance, whereby 91 takes over the 400 billion of funds under management for Sanlam, who've decided to stick to their knitting, or rather insurance peddling. David, what's happening here?
It's a bad sign. It really is. And I've been saying this the whole week.
But Hank is selling it as a good
You know, we had Champions League, and I use that. Old Mutual, Sanlam, Liberty Life, Alan Gray, and then a whole lot of players underneath that. They ran the South African investment economy. And now that they're gone, basically what Sanlam is saying, nah, we're not making money out of this. We can't do anything. Let's hand it over to 91. So I don't know how Chantal sees it, because she's much closer to the institutional market than we are. But I think there are going to be a lot of people on the street. You know, out of this comes massive consolidation, which is a nice word to say we're going to fire lots of people. So we're going to have more economists we can have on our show. We can have more investment analysts.
To be fair, it's difficult to find talent still in the asset management industry. So I do think that a lot of that talent will be absorbed, but it is disappointing that they've decided to kind of outsource that asset management function, because
exactly what they're doing.
Yes.
Hold a stake in a big asset manager, let it be their problem.
yeah, and that is disappointing. I would have.
But this is not the first time we're seeing consolidation.
No.
We had it with Liberty back in the Donny Gordon days, where he handed it over to, he wanted to do certain of it and handed it over to Stanlip. So it's not new, but I mean, this is a negative sign.
Okay, before the break, news this past week that the Navy only has one working vessel surprised many. But those of us who remember the invasion of Lesotho by South Africa in 1998, which, to be clear, we lost, weren't surprised. Albeit it does raise the question on what happened to the arms deal money. Oh wait, yes, corruption, cry the beloved country. So apparently we only have one boat. Like if you want to invade us.
Is it a submarine?
No, it's not a top
No,
boat.
it's a.
And it's not a boat, it's like a frigate. There's
We
fancy.
have some submarines, but also I think 10% of them are working.
One of them's named after my
no,
mom.
subs
How
work.
do you do your training? I mean, if you want to
don't.
join the Navy.
Go join the Navy, you just did it Simonstown.
I just find it crazy that this stuff gets reported and then just nothing happens.
Yeah. There. After the break, results really are now rushing in, and we have the best New Year's Eve party for all of you.